Guilt by itself is not an useless emotion. Guilt is a useless emotion when you only feel guilty and don't do anything about it. In the design of existence, nothing can exist without a reason. There is a reason behind everything. So what is the meaning and purpose of negative emotions? There must be some meaning and purpose to it. So why are negative emotions there? Negative emotions essentially tells you, there is a purpose to negative emotions. Negative emotions basically tells you that you have reached the boundaries. Now it's time for you to turn back. If I don't have this emotion called fear at the edge of a cliff, I will walk further and fall. It's that fear that's telling me that you've reached the boundaries, now you turn and go back. Don't go forward, go back. So negative emotion essentially is telling you that's your point of return, now return. Don't continue in the direction in which you are. We can take a lot of examples, let's stick to guilt. Guilt by itself is not an useless emotion. Guilt is a useless emotion when you only feel guilty and don't do anything about it. So what is guilt? Guilt essentially is telling you, you have fallen short of the standards you have set for yourself. That's when I feel guilty. For example, I feel this is how I should relate with my father. You have set a standard, not the world, but you feel this is how I should relate with my father. You have set a standard for yourself. So one day when the situation demands and it turns into an argument and you lose your cool, so you shout back at him, he shouts, happens in family. So it should happen, then only it's called family, otherwise it's called corporate environment. So it should happen. Later you'll feel guilty. You're feeling guilty because guilt is telling you, you behaved in a way with your father which is not the standard you have set for yourself. So you'll feel guilty. Otherwise you won't feel guilty. Okay. Guilt basically tells you, you feel you were wrong. Why do you feel you were wrong? You feel you have fallen short of the standard you have set for yourself. So if I take a program and somewhere at the end of the program I am feeling guilty, I am basically feeling guilty because I feel I did not take the session to the standard I set for myself. You want to hold yourself with certain ethical, moral standards with which you want to live your life. And somewhere when you compromise on that ethical, moral standards, you will feel guilty. You feel I have let down. This is the values with which I want to live my life. But in this I compromised, you will feel guilty. Guilt has a message for you. It's telling you, you have fallen short of the standards you have set for yourself. When you're only feeling bad, for example, like I said, one area where I've seen people always feel guilty is when somebody dies. Every time somebody dies, people feel guilty. I could have done this, I should have done this. Essentially, they are feeling responsible for the person who have died. So they feel, I could have done this, I could have. So essentially, guilt is telling you, compared to the standards you feel you should have done towards the person who has now departed, you have fallen short of the standards. So guilt has a message for all of us. If guilt is not there, we all will become reckless human beings. In fact, there will be no ethical fence, there will be no moral fence. We will do anything we do. Animals don't have guilt because animals don't have the intelligence to set standards for themselves. They just live out of instincts. Guilt is purely a human emotion. Because a human being with your intelligence, you all set certain standards for yourself, and when you fall short of that standards, the communication that comes from your internal system is called guilt. It's an useless emotion when you just feel bad and don't do anything about it. It's a very, very creative emotion when it makes you aware, Nada, guilty arke. Why am I feeling guilty? Now, I was not the teacher I was supposed to be in this moment. I was not the seeker I was supposed to be in this moment. I don't think I behaved as a daughter I should have been in this moment. I think I failed in my parental responsibility. I think I took advantage of that customer. Simple things. Okay. Because I felt nobody was watching, and that So right through I've claimed certain standards for myself saying that, I will not have egg, I want to be a vegetarian to that extent. And that moment there is a cake there or there's an ice cream there. Something in you is tempted to ask, is there egg in it? But you want that ice cream right now. If he says it's there, so you play this in your own mind saying that I don't think egg will be there, insult because you want that ice cream. Later you will feel guilty, and you're feeling guilty because you know that you let yourself down in that moment. Guilt can be your greatest asset if you can listen to your guilt and take progressive action. Guilt is a useless emotion when I look back and feel bad. Guilt is an extraordinary creative force when I want to look ahead and build myself. So now if it can help me to resolve saying that I will not exploit a customer just because he is exploitable. That's not how I want to do the business. And from now onwards, if you can see the transformation in you, that happened because of guilt. So guilt is basically telling you that speed breakers ahead. I don't think that's a bad signboard. It's a useless signboard when you don't attend to it and still go through. When you can attend to your guilt, I think it's a very beautiful progressive emotion. So guilt is useless when it doesn't help me to become better in the future. Guilt is useless when it's only making me feel bad. Guilt is a precious resource for people who want to just stop, look, stop, look and ask yourself, where have I fallen short on the standards I've set for myself? So from here on, what is going to be my correction? And if you can move forward, I think it's a priceless asset.